November, and maybe we'll have a Christmas show in December.
I love that
Maybe
idea.
appearance from Santa.
I love that
Kelly,
idea.
you want to dress up like Santa? Sure. Perfect. Got it on tape. Kelly Klubert will be Santa. So let's see. What can we talk about today? Well, we do know what today is.
Yes. What is today?
Is the 1-year anniversary of the announcement of Ginny Favod becoming our president. So, yay! Congratulations. There was only a few select people that congratulated you today, and I think
You were
I was
the only one?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So make sure that's known.
Yeah.
I get the gold star for today.
You do get the gold star for
So
today.
a year in, how are you feeling? What are you thinking? It's been an interesting year for just in general, and then you throw COVID into the mix. So walk us through a little bit.
You know what's shocking is it's been a year,
Yeah.
but it seems like maybe 3 months. It has been, it's just gone by so quickly. It is almost shocking to literally realize that a year ago today, we all gathered together downstairs, and then board member Larry Bandy was with us, and we made the announcement. And it's been a wild, exhilarating ride, and since then, today was ironic because we had the white coat ceremony for the nursing program, and we had it outside on the library plaza.
Beautiful.
And a year ago, the library plaza was a mess.
Under construction.
It was very dark. It had not been cleaned. Perhaps filthy would be a better word. It had, under construction, tarp, caution tape, construction barrels, really a barren, mess that people just walked through. And today it was, the site of the beginning of this new nursing class, and it's, completely, vibrant with these red umbrellas that we have out there, and the students were all so excited. And I just thought that's a perfect contrast between a year ago and today. That it's new and it's shiny and it's vibrant and the kids are happy. I think that was one of the things that caused me a lot of anxiety was the students and how they were handling the financial exigency and everything that had led up to myself taking the presidency. And so I think that it's been nothing but positive, nothing but a joy.
If you would look back 2 years ago, did you ever think that you would be in the position that you're in now?
No. No, I've shared with you and with others that last fall, I told the bishop one night that I now truly know what it means to be called. You just feel compelled and drawn to something. There was a lot of conversation that this wasn't a good decision for me to make in coming here. The school was in a lot of distress. It wouldn't be good for my reputation or my career, and I couldn't think of anything else. Then it's kind of like that motherly feeling that it needed me. I needed to be here, and I saw things. And I was having a conversation about 2 weeks ago, and I said that every part of my life. Actually, it was with dinner with our Jesuit priests. That every part of my life had led me to be right here, right now. My upbringing, my journey through higher education, because as I've shared, I'm the only person in my family of 10 to go to college. My mother went to 8th grade. She was born in 1923, so she went to 8th grade, and then like all of her brothers and sisters, she dropped out of school to take care of her other brothers and sisters. My life in politics. And then even my stint as the executive director of the Construction Association, because it has certainly been a blessing to this university to have friends that own construction companies and the work that they've been able to do for us. So I couldn't have imagined it, but now that I'm here and I'm a year in, I can't imagine being anywhere else. Yeah,
and it is crazy that it's been a year. And there are days that I'm like, man, it went by quick, and then there's days like, oh, it's only been a year, and not in a bad way or anything negative. It's just like one of those things you're always just like, what's going to be next? But there are days that I think that you just sit back and have to make that realization that, you know, you are where you're supposed to be. And you've touched on that quite a few times, which about you feeling called to be here, which I think is really important, that everyone knows that, and really you feel that this is where you're supposed to be, and you've made that transition into this role, and kind of made things happen the way that they've happened. You know, you are very strategic in planning things and how you do things, and diligent on making sure that things look a certain way, which is a good thing. You know, we want to make sure that our outward appearance is something that is to be prideful of. You know, we continually talk about our new furniture and in the grounds and buildings and things that some people may not think about. You've been able to kind of think about and reimagine and focus things like just washing the front of a building, or planting flowers, or putting out fall decorations and things like that can go a long way. And I think that parents notice it, and more importantly, students notice it. I think that there are a lot of times that students are complimenting, very appreciative of everything that you've done. So even Tressa last or 2 weeks ago had made that statement. So it's been a good year.
I think that, again, that's the, you know, there's the businesswoman in me, but there's also the mother. You know, I have 2 adult kids, one who's gone through undergraduate school, you know, then 4 years in medical school, and a son who is, you know, in his 4th year of undergraduate, and recognizing, you know, what I saw when I went to visit schools, what was important to me, what was important to, that I was looking for, and more importantly than anything, knowing that we're trusted with someone else's children. And that's what they are. I mean, I call them kids. I mean, and some of them are adults, but they're still somebody else's children. And I have to tell you that, you know, that I do the update every Friday. And every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I get emails from people who read them, sharing generally their thoughts. And I got one on Saturday. To be honest, it brought tears to my eyes, because it was a mother who said that she really struggled with the idea of sending her daughter here. She's in another state. She's one of our athletes, and she really wanted to come. And, you know, with the COVID and everything, she wasn't really sure. And she said that this constant source of communication really makes her feel like her daughter's being taken care of. And not only is she being taken care of, and not only is she safe, but we're teaching them how to be safe. You know, we talk about the care and keeping of one another, and you are your brother's keeper. And I think that goes a long way. And again, it all comes back to being a parent, you know, and recognizing that, how I expect my kids to be, you know, not necessarily treated, but watched over, would probably be a better way of saying it.
Today we got, a parent had reached out to one of my staff, and, you know, had some concerns about COVID, and he responded, included me back on his response, and I responded with, you know, some of our protocols on dealing with stuff, and the parent immediately responded back with, you know, appreciation of our immediate response, of our thorough information, you know, and it's nice to get those kind of emails that you really do feel that the work that you're doing and the effort that you're putting in isn't going unnoticed, and the parents are noticing those things. Because like you said, they are kids, they're students, but, you know, it is our responsibility. I'll never forget the first time I was an RA. I was a sophomore in college, junior in college, so like, you know, still super young. And my first year as an RA in a freshman all-male residence hall, and barely had any idea what I was doing myself, you know, in college. And a grandmother had come up to me and put her hands on my shoulder, and she was like, "Take care of my grandson, he's all I've got." And then that put a whole new perspective on what my role as a student, as an RA, was, that to take care of, you know, my hands were to take care of that kid, you know, and it was, you know, kind of one of those things that put things in perspective, which was good that it happened early on, so it kind of really kind of got me through my path into where, you know, I'm here now, so.
Well, there's the sense of, you know, our commitment to our mission, and our commitment to the whole person, and realizing that in 4 years, whatever we inflict or teach these students are going to forever affect the world that they live in, and the community, and how they treat other people, how they treat, you know, the cashier at the grocery store, how they treat someone, you know, a waitress at you know, at a restaurant. That's a reflection on us, and so you take it so seriously, because, you know, you want to give them that. And then there's the whole business end of it. You know, we are a nonprofit, but we still are, you know, we still are a business, you know, and parents are still spending money for their students to be here. And, we have to take care of our campus, and it has to be perfect, and it needs to be pristine and well-maintained and everything in its place, because, this is something that they're investing in for 4 years. And, I appreciate that.
Yeah, 4 years or longer. We have some master's programs, so we can keep on coming back. We'll take them for a few extra years.
I was thinking the other day of, the fact that it's been a year, and it's been a rough couple of months, a lot longer than I anticipated COVID lasting, and, the difficulty. And they say that the difficult times are what really brings people together. And I think that's done that for us. I think that we are all very close. We've had some rough moments, some tense moments, and we've had some heartbreaking moments. And those things are what real relationships are really about, what they're built from, is surviving that and still being okay with one another. And I love how much we've all gone through. We've lost some people, to the layoffs. We've lost some others that decided, they wanted to go elsewhere. We've had some new members, and that takes a toll on you emotionally sometimes. But having an opportunity to reflect on the fact that you have to appreciate what still is there, and the effect people have had in their lives. What's going on?
I don't know. They keep talking to each other. Are we okay? I'm always a firm believer that God doesn't put anything in your path that you can't overcome. So I take every challenge and every obstacle as a learning opportunity or a chance to challenge myself. Everything that's put in my path is there for a reason, and it's my opportunity to kind of conquer it and see where it takes me. So, everything that we've dealt with, it is you deal with it. We've dealt with COVID, and like I said to you this morning, it's been a great ride. It's been a bumpy ride at times, but it's been great. So, I'm glad that we're at this point, and then 2 years, we'll see where we're at in 2 years, and 3, 4, 5, and keep going.
I know, but it is an absolute pleasure every single day, and I still find myself after a year not wanting to go home at night.
Put a bed up there in CET for you.
Don't say that too loud. I think that that we're on the right path. We've just got, as I've continued to say, we've just got to survive COVID. And no end in sight. And every time we think we're out of the clear, it just continues to happen. 4 weeks ago, we talked about, where we were, pride ourselves on our ability to be fluid and to adapt and make adjustments. And, so we have one more adaptation that's coming our way this week.
So we are starting random testing. We are testing 10% of our campus population, which is being paid for by the government, the state government. We are working in conjunction with West Virginia DHHR and the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission. So I brought kind of like a sample of the test. We are doing a saliva test, which is different than tickle your brain, way up in there. We're starting it tomorrow. We're doing it once a week until Thanksgiving, when our students will go home and move to online. Students, faculty, staff, whoever is randomly selected, will get this little kit here. A lot of it is on the student or the faculty or staff member driven. They have to spit. It's a lot. Some are worried.
I'm very worried about that.
So we're looking about that much spit, saliva. Sorry, saliva,
No, I
not
told him
spit.
not to say spit.
Not to say spit.
I told him to
So
say
it's a
saliva.
saliva test. The student comes in, they get a QR code to log on to Vault website, which is the company that we're using for our testing, and that'll walk them through the process. They put in their information. They're asking that students that live on campus to use their on-campus address, so 316 Washington, and we'll instruct students once they get there, faculty or staff. Commuters and others will use their actual home address. They'll come in, they'll put their information. There's a code on here, and there's 2 of them here. It's the same code. They'll input that into the database for Vault. They'll spit in it, take that off. They'll turn the cap on that has some blue liquid in it. Make sure the blue liquid drops. Judy Blue, who's our nurse, will be in there to ensure that happens, and then they'll shake it, and then that's it. It takes less than 7 minutes from start to finish. Again, it's all person-driven, so they'll put that information in there. We are looking at a 24-hour turnaround from once the time it gets to the lab. So we do it tomorrow from 10 to 2. About 3 o'clock, we'll ship them out, overnight them to New Jersey. Once they get into lab, about 24 hours from then. So hopefully Saturday, we'll get our first, hopefully, negative
So this is
results.
going to be a little different than when we tested when everyone returned to campus. One, I mean, obviously that was the nasal swab. Two, it happened very quickly, and so there was the option of soliciting authority from our students or only receiving the positives through the health department. This is different.
Yeah, so they will receive an email with either detected or not detected, and it'll go through that, and they'll get an email, and it'll say where they're at on that. We will also get that information through my office, and we will work with Howard Gamble, again, he seems to be our best friend, and Lou Vargo and Greg Vargo at the Ohio County, Wheeling, Ohio County Board of Health, and they'll work with us on contact tracing, making sure that anyone who may have been in contact with an individual that tested positive, we work on quarantining, isolating, and that process. So put them in here, they go in, they got a own biohazard bag, they have an alcohol swab to clean it off, and then we will drop it in here and ship it out. So
what day of the week are we going to be testing on?
So this week is only Thursday due to getting the tests in. We're going to move it to Wednesday. So every Wednesday, 10 to 2, starting next week, we'll be testing. And we'll, again, every Friday, we'll send out the email of who's been selected. And then Monday, Tuesday, reminder emails.
So how are you choosing who is selected?
So I close my eyes and I just look and point. So through a spreadsheet, we have an Excel spreadsheet. It can be randomized. I found that out, which was great. So we randomize the names, and then we just take the top 10%. And we will continue to do that. We will just keep cycling through and using everybody in the same list and 10% each time. So it may be that an individual gets tested more than once, or we'll go through that. There are the HEPC and DHHR left really the picking of the 10% up to us on how we decided that. If we feel that there is someone who may have come in contact and didn't get selected, they just reach out to Student Services and we'll add them to the list and they can come and get tested. We're still going to try to hit that 10% target, making sure that we get those numbers down. But we have the test kits, we're ready to go. Christy Nyman, myself, and Judy in our office will be eager to get started. I think we're excited, worried. We want to see how this first week goes. It's something new, it's something different.
So I think it came from the concern that campuses across the United States have these large, populations of students that are living, amongst themselves, and that the majority of all universities are sending their kids home at Thanksgiving. And every institution in West Virginia is sending their students home at Thanksgiving, as Wheeling University is. That we could potentially be sending large amounts of asymptomatic students back into their towns and in their communities. So I think this is a way of gauging what's really going on in these campuses. So like you, I'm a little nervous. I think we continue to try to manage to be as safe as possible. This week we made a little adjustment. Once again, we have our app. And we found that not everyone was using it. We had, an instance where someone shared with someone else they weren't feeling well, but they hadn't reported it on their app. So we went back and said everyone has to fill out the app or download it and daily do it. And then we added that you have to show it to your professor to get into class, and all employees have to show it to their supervisor, every morning. So it's just really that double down, there you go, double down of making sure that we're controlling symptoms. You know, we've been taking temperatures at the entryway since August, and, you know, it's become a little tedious to some, and, you know, we're going to continue doing it because I feel as though if having a fever is a symptom, and we can prevent someone of coming onto our campus that has symptoms, then we need to be doing that, you know. And so I know we've had, how many positives so far? 4?
2 in the beginning, 1, 4 total.
4 total. And we just came out of having 14 quarantined because we had a positive, you know, and, you know, we just keep worrying that we're going to be the next, you know, name a school that has, you know, double digits of students in quarantine. And the only thing you can do is just continue to try to do everything possible. So are we still taking temperatures at the dorms?
Yeah, periodically we'll do temperature checks there at the entrances and all of that. Anytime we get a positive, we work with Howard on contact tracing. When we work with quarantine, we're still working with quarantine student self-isolation on traveling, if they do travel some distance, particularly those that are traveling farther distance, in particularly flying places, going through an airport, that we always encourage, and we send out information about CDC regulations when traveling. Again, it's been great. A lot of students are communicating to us that they are traveling somewhere. We still would like to see students not traveling as much, just to kind of keep things, we seem to, those concerns are still out there. And we understand the kids want to go home, but we've got about, how many weeks left?
7.
7?
7.
7. Kelly's going to count. 7 weeks or so, if they can just hang tight with us and, you know, keep with us.
So, and I think that that's the message, is just, you know, I said this 2 weeks ago, you know, Dr. Fauci said, you know, we just really need to hunker down and get through this. And for us, you know, it's getting through, you know, Thanksgiving, then, you know, we have a week of online instruction. I know that was an issue. We talked about that today in President's Cabinet, whether or not that was understood. So you're going to go home at Thanksgiving, then you'll have your regular class online for a week, and then you'll go into your finals. And then we're not returning until we move that back by a week.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving, we are having students stay until Tuesday. Normally they would be done Friday.
At 4.
At 4, yeah. So normally they would be done Tuesday.
To be specific.
They would normally be done Friday, so we would kick everyone out. And then they would have some time at home, but we're staying until Tuesday to get a few more classes in. So 4 o'clock on Tuesday, students will be out, and then they go online, finals, then their full Christmas break, and then January 11th, I believe, is the first day of classes. So it was a week before, we pushed it back a week. It gives us some time to continue to plan, continue to prepare. We'll probably have a staggered move-in like we did in the fall, so that gives us an additional week to kind of, so we're not running into New Year's time. Give us a week or so to get students back on campus. We're not sure if we'll test again, you know, where we're at on that. It's up in the air, you know, and I think that's up in the air, and be flexible.
Well, one way or the other, we're going to test.
Right.
Whether or not we require you to come back with the test, or whether or not the governor will require them to be tested on site. You know, one way or the other, they will be coming back having been tested. You know, I think that as this wears on, you know, it's just one of those things that's becoming a new norm. You know, if you're going to go to certain physicians, you know, appointments, you're sitting in your car, and their waiting room is now your car.
Right.
You know, and we've become accustomed to that. And if you're going to go move back into some place, you're going to be tested. It just is. And, you know, we have a responsibility to making sure we have a safe environment. Not, you know, for the students, for you, you know, for all of our staff and our employees, and, you know, we worry about everyone, not just the students, you know, because they all go home at night and they all have families, you know. But I just think it's just a continual keeping on top of things, you know. I've noticed that there's been some slacking in signing in when you go into someone else's office, you know, and when we got off the phone today with the Ohio County Health Department, he said if you need help with, what did he say? Contract tracing. And the reason we instilled that was so that if something happened, we would be able to do our own contact tracing. And I'm seeing that slack off. So we're going to have to get back on that.
I didn't sign it.
I know you didn't, but I didn't sign in when I came to your office the other day, so we're fine. But I came over to make sure your carpets were clean. So.
A question came up on how accurate was the test, the validity of the test. So on vaulthealth.com, which is the company that HEPC, DHHR has kind of partnered with, all that information is on there. So I encourage you to go on there. It says the test is very sensitive for the presence of SARS-CoV-2, with 98% of tests providing either a positive or a negative, and only 2% of tests providing an inconclusive result. The test can detect as few as 200 copies of the viral genes per milliliter of saliva, and can detect the presence of virus in the saliva within 2 days of infection and up to 28 days after infection. And again, there's a frequently asked questions on there. It might be something that we could put that information in a communication out. Again, they've got a whole bunch of information on there. So I encourage anyone who has additional questions about the testing, it's Vault, V-A-U-L-T, health.com. And again, they're the company that we've worked with, and they've got a lot of information on there. So you know, we'll send out reminders, and we'll include that information. We did include that information on the 10% that we were selected. The website information was included on there, so we'll continue to send that out so they can educate themselves on the test, make sure that they understand the accuracy, and that's a great question for that.
So anyone here get picked in the first round? Anyone being tested? So what are the requirements before we get tested? Can I eat lunch and then come over at that 5 minutes later?
So there are specific things you can't do. So within 30 minutes prior to your test, you're not allowed to drink, eat, chew gum, vape, or smoke. We do encourage drinking water 30 minutes prior to that 30 minutes, so that way you kind of build up your saliva and make sure that you have enough. Judy, our nurse, I love her to death. She was practicing over the weekend, making sure that she could produce this spit. So, you know, they want to make sure the accuracy, so there isn't anything, you know, in your saliva. So, you know, it'll ask those questions. It'll ask you a variety of questions when you come in on the Vault website. If you've eaten, drank, any of those things within 30 minutes, if you say yes, you cannot go any further. We'll encourage you to sit and wait 20 minutes within Troy Theater, where we're having our testing at. And then once that's time is up, then you can continue and go back through.
Where will the testing be?
So we want to do it in Troy Theater here in Swint. So it's larger, so that people can kind of, if you know, it's an easier test than waiting in line and getting pricked. And again, I give it to you, you take it from there. You know, we're watching and monitoring, and then you drop it off at the front with Judy. So it'll be in Troy Theater, 10 to 2 every Wednesday, except for this week is tomorrow.
So just any time that's convenient between 10 and 2, you don't have to have an appointment?
You don't have to have an appointment anytime. That gives the people, you know, a good amount of time. If there is a person who is selected that maybe can't make that time, they just need to contact me and I will work with them. We had someone who was selected who works off campus during that time, so they're going to come in a little bit early. The saliva test can stay. If you take it, put it in there, and we put it in the bag and we hang on to it until later, and we send them all, it's good to go for some time. So excellent questions.
Well, thank you.
So another question, and we had actually already put this on our to talk about, because you heard this rumor as well, that there are rumors that students are going to be sent home.
Tim Pierce just wished me a happy 1 year
Oh,
anniversary.
come on.
Apple Watch. Thank you.
First. So you had heard this rumor. So are students being sent home?
No. You know, that was ironic. We had this conversation. My son, who was a student here, who transferred after financial exigency, asked me Saturday morning, "Mom, are the rumors true?" I said, "What rumors?" He said that you're going to send the kids home. A lot of his friends are still here. And, they're like, ask your mom, ask your mom. And the answer is no. There's nothing that I want more than to keep them here. I read an article online this morning about it was a scam for universities to bring students back and be paying these extraordinary high tuition amounts. I think this particular school was $70,000, and then have them, online. And I mean, the reality of it is, last night I was leaving your building because we have a relocation of offices going on, and I had gone over to check, and I was coming back out, and I saw coming up the stairwell there from Swint Plaza, there were like 6 kids. They're walking, they have their mask on, and that right there, that's the aspect of what is important to me, is that socialization, their life. They're making the best situation. They're wearing their masks. They're having their temperatures checked. They're doing the live safe. They're using sanitizer, but they just want to be in college, and they're willing to do it any way, shape, or form. And as long as we continue being safe, there is nothing that any of us want to do less than to send the kids home. I still haven't gotten over having done that back in March.
Yeah, and I think that we continue to do the things that we put in place so that we can keep students here. Even if a student tests positive or needs a quarantine, we'll do it here on campus and work through it. We've got information with local hotels if we need to go that route. If students want to quarantine at home, or if they test positive and want to go home, that's up to them.
But we have an ability to control it.
Correct.
It does exist. We are living in a world where COVID exists. I have to tell you, last week with the president testing positive, that really, it just really emotionally struck me, because it's the president of the United States, one of the greatest countries in the global world, and he is, one of the most powerful leaders, and he's positive. I'm not sure, that it matters to me what political party you are. I was raised to respect the office, and I was so struck by that, that if we can't keep the president safe, and just making sure that we understand that no one's immune to it. And we just have to continue doing everything. But, at the end of the day, we still have the facilities and the procedures set up. And quite frankly, you've been doing a great job with that. We're getting the kids, into quarantine. We're getting their meals to them. They're doing their classes online. We're making sure they're well taken care of. Some of them are going home. But we will continue that process, and we're staying on top of it. And that's it. And we're willing to do that extra work to make sure that we do not send our students home. That is so important to me. We have 7 weeks left, but we have to continue to be open and communicate and not do things that are against our policies.
Yeah, and so a little bit of our process in student services. Whenever we get information of a student, for one, if a student's positive, we immediately contact the Ohio County Board of Health. Just waving to
I'm
your
sorry.
fans.
I just love the
wave to your
kids.
fans.
I love the kids.
We immediately call the Ohio County Board of Health so that they're aware, give them their contact information. We inform the student that we will be contacting the Ohio County Board of Health so they're aware. We put them in quarantine. We work with Ohio County on the contact tracing. Once a student goes into quarantine, we automatically contact Academic Affairs. Academic Affairs sends an email out to their faculty to work and accommodate anything that they need. We contact Aladdin Food Services to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner delivered. There are some institutions that are delivering once a day, and they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they just have it. We are doing 3-meal delivery, so they get a breakfast at 8 o'clock, they get lunch at about 11:30, and they get dinner at about 5. So we do have our 3 meals a day. They get it straight from our cafeteria, so it's been great to have that. And again, other process, if a student contacts and says they've traveled somewhere, we put them in quarantine and do the same thing, contact faculty, contact Aladdin, and work through that process. So it is all about communication. We're wanting to make sure that our students are safe. We're wanting to make sure that those that they've encountered are safe. If we have to put a whole group of students in quarantine, then we have to put a whole group of students in quarantine. And we'll work with them on their needs, trash needs taken out, if their pet needs taken out, or if, if laundry, we'll work through that. And we may not know all the answers, but we'll continue to work through that process.
Well, and I think that that's one of the things when we talk about our year and the bumpy ride. Those are some of the things, that we recognized back in the spring, that, we were, this fragile university that was struggling already, and then we had this happen. And it was kind of a moment of taking kind of an interview or an inventory of what we had. And what we have is a very small university that is very close-knit, that is tucked back into a little neighborhood in the rolling hills of West Virginia. And we started to realize that this was a great place to be at a time like this, that we could bring kids here and that we knew that we could keep them safe. And I think that one of the greatest things has been that we are this close-knit little university tucked back into a neighborhood in the rolling hills, because the kids, even when we had an entire team in quarantine last week, they all weathered it like champs. They were respectful. They did, what you asked. Some of them went home, and I saw some of them in the halls the other day, and they're so excited to be back. And I love the fact that that happened to them. They dealt with it, and they came back with the same enthusiasm, and it just continues to reinforce how important what we do here is, because we're teaching them things happen in life.
Right.
Some really rough moments will come your way and be obstacles in your path. And I always say it's not what happens to you, but it's how you react to what happens to you that determines who you are. And so I'm seeing these kids learn how to handle travesty and obstacles, and they just keep going.
Yeah,
and I love that about this school.
We're all in it together. We're going through it. We're in constant contact on what things are happening and what's going on, and making sure that you're aware of what students' needs or concerns are. Another question came in about taking temperatures. Why are we still doing that? It's one of the symptoms. So, it's something that we can get as soon as somebody gets to campus to find out what their temperature is, so we can kind of continue to
Every
monitor
morning
that.
I pull through the gate, and I love seeing Public Safety Joe. He is just the highlight of my day.
If
he
he
is
could
so
have
happy.
donuts and coffee, I would probably like a little more.
But every morning, as I look at Joe, and I'm so excited to see him, I say, please God, don't let me have a temperature. And because I worry about it, partially because I don't want to be sick. I have 2 children, and a husband, but I don't want to not be able to come to work, because I feel, again, this is my task. This is the work that God has asked me to do, and I want to be here every day to make sure we're doing that. And so, I don't ask anyone to do anything I'm not willing to do. I do my Live Safe. We don't ask any of the higher administration to do it. You all send your little green check to me every morning. And it's just that constant sense of, the care and keeping of one another. But we are going to continue taking temperatures until, COVID is no longer an issue, because we're going to continue making sure we're doing what we need to be doing.
Yep, and that's what we're here for. So, another question, I think we get this a couple times. Any determination yet on winter sports, and who makes that decision?
That decision is made by the Board of Trustees of the Mountain East Conference, the MEC. I am a member of that, as are all of the presidents of the schools that are within our conference. We actually have a board meeting on Friday, and I think that will be part of our agenda. So, we as a group, and Reed Amos, our commissioner, has been almost stoic about understanding the need for our students to compete, which is why we waited until we were somewhat forced by the NCAA to make the decision that we made for fall sports, which put us into the spring season playing up to 50% of their games, not exceeding that, because we don't want them to lose their year of eligibility. But for winter sports, it's not been discussed yet. So I suspect we'll take the same path and hold off on making any decision until it's absolutely necessary. And it's difficult, because you're finding, the different conferences are all making different decisions than the decision they made going into the season. So I think it's rough. It's rough for our students to see high school kids playing. And it's rough for our
point.
students to see, some D1 schools that are playing football. But, again, as I'm sitting here and we're watching the kids back and forth, you see the softball girls go through, you see the baseball guys go through, and they're out there every single day. And they're honing their craft and they're staying committed and they're working hard. Because that's what they want to do, and we just want to provide them the atmosphere and the environment to do it and do it safely.
Yeah, they're still out there practicing. They're still getting in all that they can, and it's definitely something. I'm not a sports person. I was an athlete in cross country and track, but I miss going to like a football game. My first year, we had great turnout for our football games. We had, Kelly working with alumni that came back and having tailgating and homecoming. It's that time of year where this weekend coming up was supposed to be our homecoming, and it's one of those things that we just had to push off. And we don't want to say cancel, we want to say postponed or put off to a later date, because it really is, and that was such a great, and I always go back, it was such a great atmosphere, a great time to be on campus, seeing the students enjoying that first kind of homecoming celebration, the dance, homecoming king and queen, all the events that student government and campus activities put on. It was definitely something that's missing, and it's definitely that we want to hold off and next semester maybe just full of stuff.
Oh, it's going to be. It is going to be. God willing, it's going to be, because we'll have both spring and fall sports playing simultaneously. So it should prove to be a very exciting
we
time.
have a football game with a track meet going on in cross country all at the same time, with softball somewhere else. It will be. Your calendar is going to be booked. As such a sports fan, you'll be bebopping around everywhere.
From your mouth to God's ears. I hope that is an issue that we have in front of us. But we have a lot of committed athletes. And to be honest, I love the fact that they are practicing. I love the concept of staying on schedule. I've always said that the beauty of being an athlete, a college athlete, is the fact that you have to be regimented and getting your practice, your workout, your weightlifting in, and then still studying. And it's a great exercise for life, is how to balance things. But right now, with dealing with COVID, our kids are staying healthy, because they're exercising and they're outside. The majority of them are outside right now. So
right, and I think back to my college experience many moons ago, but I thrived on my competition with cross country and track, and being able to be out there and running, but knowing that they're still practicing, still getting that camaraderie, that team bonding that they're still doing is really important, because you really do form a different bond when you're on a team, because you're with them a lot. You know what I mean? Like from day to dawn.
Hey, Kelly, can I have the shirt? Thank you. So I'm very excited, because we talk all the time about the fact that we are a family here. And we, a lot of it is Cardinal family. And we talk about how serious we actually take that. And the fact that, we treat one another that way. We understand that we're going to have rough times, but we're still a family. Today, we'll be putting these out into the bookstore today. We are family. I love this, because this is who we are. And we take it very serious here. So we took it serious enough that we actually put it on a shirt. So we are family.
And they will be available down in the coffee shop.
Yes.
When?
Tonight, as soon as I get done and I can go actually stock them, because that's one of my side jobs. We talk a lot about the fact that we all wear multiple hats. With the cutbacks that we had, we all had to take on extra duties. And I actually do a very fine job of stocking the apparel store.
So laundry is your thing, folding clothes, putting them away?
Dr. McGlade has actually been doing the laundry for
but
DPT.
Folding and stocking,
yes.
you're there.
Yes, I'm there.
Side job.
Yes, and last week we were making our own price tags to put on our keychains, because we have the Cardinals Keychains. And it's about, it's about giving our kids the things that they want and need,
Well, it's a good thing, because a year ago we didn't have that option on campus. There was very limited amount of Cardinal gear available. And it's nice to have things available online. You can go online and purchase things, but I want to see it. I want to look what it, see what it looks like, how it feels. So we've got a lot of different stuff down in the bookstore.
And next month at our monthly town hall, Vice President Andrew will be sporting the new Wheeling University Cardinal tie.
Yes. I've been asking for a tie.
Well, there'll be two choices for you. So I approved those today. So, but no, it's about that. It's your college experience and making sure that we provide all of those things to our students. And speaking of, one of the things that I wanted to touch on, we don't want our kids leaving, and Aladdin's done a great job. I asked them to kind of create almost a small grocery store within Starbucks, the coffee shop, and they've really taken it to a new level. They bought a new freezer. You can buy microwavable entrees, pizzas. And in your favorite was all about the ice cream.
I'm an ice cream person.
And anything you need that's in there. And it's about keeping our kids on campus, not forcing them to go off to campus to get something that they need, making sure that everything's here. And I love that. But the other thing of it is that Max has done a great job of providing things for the kids to do. So in the past 3 weeks, what are some of the things that our kids have had the opportunity?
Oh gosh, we've had bingo, we've had teen trivia. Help me out. Oh, we had a cookout. BSU had a cookout. You had games on Don Lawn. I know I'm missing more. That. And we've got things planned coming up. I know that we're still working on getting students information about voter registration. We had a presidential debate watch party with nachos. We are
NBA watch party.
NBA watch party. A lot of those kind of things to get people together, socially distanced here in the RAT.
Pumpkins and apples this Saturday.
Donna knows it all.
I'm on it.
So fall activities, everyone loves to carve a good pumpkin, get some apple cider. That's always, a good time.
No, it's important. And, I think that the kids, are adhering to our requests of, staying on campus. And Max, you're doing a great job making sure they have things to do, because quite frankly, bored kids are never a good thing. So.
Yeah, what did they say? Idle hands, the devil's playwork? Is that what it is?
That is what they say. So.
Didn't think I knew that one, did you? But another thing, besides just like food down in the kiosk, they've got like shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, toothbrushes, razors.
Feminine products.
All variety of different things. So you really could never leave campus. So if you do want to put a bed here up in CET, third floor, you're good to go.
Well, no, really. I mean, it's that, and I have to admit, it actually came from a parent. I love the fact that the students and parents alike talk to me, and they kind of said, if you do this, kids will never have to leave, and I was like, wow, they're right, and so I pride myself on the fact that I listen, and I also am also grateful that people feel comfortable, telling me what they think. Literally positive and
or negative,
yes, but that is okay because that's part of the position. But for the most part, we're very open here, and I love the fact that a parent had a great idea. The RAT that we're in right now, still amazed that we have our own campus pub. I choose that word over bar because I think it's a little more in keeping with the fact that we're a Catholic university. But it's been here for years, and last year it too was shut down. It was just a coffee shop. Our Starbucks did not exist last year, and so we spent a lot of time cleaning it up and fixing it. And we actually should have our liquor license within a week.
So then for next town hall, we might have ourselves a pub drink.
Yes.
Come up with a festive fall drink.
Yes, I think it's called red wine.
Well, that's you. I'll stick to my Oktoberfest.
But it's just that constant, even in the midst of a global pandemic, we do not rest. We are working hard day in and day out, growing the university, but also repairing the university and adding things. So I'm excited about that because we talked about it before. It's going to be run through an internship program. So students will actually run the actual RAT Rathskeller, but the kids call it the rat.
And that's how it was done
Yeah.
before, correct? That there was
Once upon a time,
student-driven,
yes.
student-run, and it gives them the opportunity for that real-world experience. Kelly, is that right?
But it's going to be a little bit a higher level than that. We're actually going to have some restaurant equipment brought in, and they're going to be able to serve, sandwiches and wings, those types
Big
of
hit.
things.
People love wings.
Yes. So I think that, adds just one more element of what the students have to do. I know that we've now opened our student centers, including the 24-hour lounge, and we know the pool tables up there, and we had a pool table cover, but someone failed to remove the pool sticks, so the kids were in playing pool, and I'm still a mother at heart, and I'm like, they're doing everything we ask of them. So my compromise was we put up a sign that said, please, disinfect your pool stick when you're done. So I don't want to take it away from them.
Right.
Because they're up there and they're socially distancing and they just need, again, socialization, and so that one, the pool sticks are still in hiding.
We'll hold that off for
Yes.
a few more.
Yes.
So another kind of question that came in, and we've talked about, guests on campus. We've got students who have family that live close that may want to come to dinner with them here in the cafeteria or go to mass with them. We are still really want to stick with our no necessarily outside guests unnecessarily.
No, we are still closed to the public, and that includes, coming in here to the Benedum or going to Mass. It is closed to the public. We've just got to continue to stay safe. And the scary thing is that concept of once you start to give, then everything will be eroded.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've said from the beginning, we were a university in financial, turmoil in the spring. And, we took action very quickly. And so we weathered that fairly well. We cannot weather that twice in 1 year. So, we have got to make sure that we are doing everything that we can and that, it just remains shut down. Yeah. And as I've shared, that's a financial sacrifice on our behalf because it excludes the ability to generate revenue from other things. But I'm okay with that because our primary purpose is to educate our students, and that's what we're doing. That's it, and keeping everyone safe. Two things.
Yeah, we have, I say a little bit more control of those that are around us more. So.
Now we do let people come through with their animals and they're passing through.
They're not going into buildings. They're not going into specific areas. Some guests are allowed, but not like in buildings, per se.
Right. And right when you said that, we added these little things that are meaningless, but also they're very purposeful. We actually have a chalkboard out on the campus plaza for Starbucks, and write a little note on it, and we actually added a little dog bowl for all of our four-legged friends that come through campus, and it just.
Which also tonight is Blessing of the Pets, correct? At what time? 9:15 Mass.
Yes.
Blessing of the Pets. We do have animals here on campus for a variety of reasons. We are encouraging on specifics, as allowing students to have pets. But Father Hottie and his team will have the Blessing of the Pets tonight. So if you have a pet here on campus, and bring them down, and they'll get blessed by Father Hottie.
Yes.
We might have to have a special blessing for. First dog, Lucy.
Lucy
Can't make it tonight.
No, Lucy's as you know, she's being trained to become a therapy dog, and she had to go back to school. She's doing really well though. She's such.
Do you get postcards, pictures, all that kind of stuff? Do you send goodie packages?
It is one of those things that you're doing something right in life when your children want to continue beyond. My daughter is a doctor, 8 years of school, and she's in her residency, and she's thinking about the kids that are going to be in her future, and she's looking to do a fellowship year in oncology. And she's hoping to have Lucy trained so that Lucy can be a therapy dog for the children who have cancer. And you know, you've been around her. I mean,
Yeah.
she's just this.
Dogs are very
amazing
therapeutic. I have
But
three
I
of
have to
them.
say, Luca has my heart. He really does. So we have a geese problem. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. So I have my animals, my fake animals, strategically around campus, and up in the large yard next to the CET building, we have a fake coyote. So I'm leaving campus last night, and I look over, and Luca is with the fake coyote. So I think he's drawn to him.
Somebody has to be.
Yeah, so.
It can be scary. Well, I would just
But-
bring the dogs out and let them
Yeah.
chase after some geese. Have
Well,
some-
yeah, and
Have
that's.
you taken your bullhorn out yet?
No, I haven't. I did give the, what do you call them, the air horns to public safety.
I haven't heard any
It's
loud.
a humane way of trying to get the geese to move on. And I know it's funny, but at the same time,
no.
we talk about, we have all of these kids, we have all these athletes, and they utilize the field.
Mm-hmm.
Rugby and lacrosse both practice up there.
They're
And
on like
so
today.
the geese that are up there, are making a mess, and the kids have it on their shoes, and and so they have to take it back to their dorm, and so it really is a problem that we're trying to address.
Yeah.
I know it's funny because I just cannot seem to champion this one, but there's
You'll
a
get
reason.
to it. You
There's a
champion
reason
everything,
behind
so
it. So
you'll get there.
Yes.
So another question came through about work study. They've
Mm-hmm.
applied for a work study job. When will they learn if they've been hired?
Well, good news. Joined us this evening, walked in halfway through the show, is our new Human Resources Director, Dr. Tamanio. We keep trying to figure out how to say his name quickly, but that's okay with my last name. But he is, that's one of his first, tasks. To get taken care of. We've been without an HR director for a couple of months, and I know the students are frustrated, and we want them back to work, and we want to get them employed, and so they're in the system. We just need someone to complete the transaction. So within a couple days, I think we'll have them all processed, and so I think that's just days away from being
Yeah.
done. Also today, I think he's going to be finalizing our new public safety director. So we'll have someone on campus hopefully within the week. So it's just staying, as I said, constantly on top of everything.
Yeah, getting things done, which is important, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So we're rounding out our hour again. So any final thoughts, any closing statements?
You know what, just continuing to keep in mind that we cannot get comfortable. We cannot relax. We are existing in a world with a global pandemic that each of us at any given day could find ourselves, positive with, a life-threatening virus. Whether or not you agree with it is not an issue. It's adhering to the rules that we have collectively set up so that we feel that we can keep our students safe, and that we have a responsibility to one another. We always have a responsibility to one another, regardless of a pandemic, to be kind and to care for one another. But it is heightened right now, and remembering that we have to use the sanitizer, we have to wear our mask, we have to stay on campus, and we have to not travel. If we have to go home, to contact your office and to set those things up. If you're not feeling well, to communicate that to someone so we can get you tested, all of us. And so I think that's just it. We're halfway through. We have to stay strong. In sports, there's a saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And so I think that holds true here. We're doing well until someone stops doing well and starts breaking the rules and not adhering to things, and none of us deserve that as a collective whole. So we have to understand that we have a responsibility to one another for that, and to the school. So.
Yep, we're here. There's, it's not, not just us. We have the whole collective of our whole campus community. So, and we are done on time.
All right, well, good luck with the testing tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. We should. Oh, it's exciting.
It is.
And
I don't know if it's exciting. It's kind of
Scary.
nerve-wracking. Yes.
Yeah, so-
All right. Well, thank you as
All right.
always.
Thank you. And again, congratulations on your 1 year.
Thank you. Thank you.